The rise of generative AI for very degenerate things was definitely not on my 2020s bucket list, but here we are. However, some users believe that character AI unethically attempts to replace real-life role-playing, whether it be on forums or on Tumblr. And today, I want to dissect the topic of character AI versus online role-playing. Disclaimer, this video is from personal opinions, but I also want to emphasize that I'm not here to completely make a stance. I want to lay out all of the good and the bad on the table so that you can have your own opinions. So let's begin. Character AI is one of the most popular platforms for AI-based character role-playing where you talk to your favorite fictional, or sometimes non-fictional, character, and you conjure up scenarios and conversations with them based on how the AI perceives your answers. These AI models are created from both existing information about the character and how they respond to other people. And this is meant to simulate an activity known as role-playing. Role-playing, in a fandom definition, is usually the use of another character's identity to engage in fictitious activities with other individuals who are also playing another character. Popularly, this is done on blogging sites like Twitter or Tumblr, but I'm going to be talking about Tumblr for this one. So usually, it's prose work, where I give you one chunk of information, details, and world building, then you respond with another one. We ping-pong like this and eventually create a narrative. Role-playing is actually a really beneficial skill and pastime if you want to improve certain abilities. Creative writing is practiced with how you describe a character's actions and dialogues. Improvisation writing is also crucial, because it's difficult to predict how your partner will reply to what you said. And if you're someone that runs a blog, graphic design, icon creation, and editing skills are abilities that you're probably going to learn eventually. Role-playing is also a strong way of creating a community. It's an activity of passion. You're also kind of forced to talk to people online and collaborate so that your intentions are smooth, safe, and appropriate. But Character.ai recontextualizes what role-playing is, because now you remove the human aspect behind it. And the real question is that a good thing? So let's begin. There's a lot of potential benefits that could come from role-playing with a digital database, and it's not completely fair to vilify character AI. One benefit is that character AI is instantaneous pseudo-communication. I'm using pseudo here because this isn't a real person. We don't need to wait for hours or days for a reply to a message, especially if this is a one-shot work. Sometimes, it's just nice to get your instant gratification, especially when the work being outputted would have costed a lot of time. Is this generally a good thing? You're going to have to dissect that for yourself. But it is a benefit compared to the time gap you would get from role-playing online. Sometimes, your partner is tired or even burnt out, so you usually have to be patient if you want to continue. Character AI removes the possibility of that. The second is the lack of human intervention. On one hand, people argue that Character.ai dilutes the essence of relationship formation into something pretty shallow. But there's a side of this argument that's kind of positive. Not everyone is comfortable talking to a human being, and it also removes the danger that you're talking to somebody suspicious. There is also a level of comfort in escapism, where you're just talking to someone fictional and that nothing you do will have any significant impact. A study has shown that Character.ai has assisted users in coping with strong emotions such as anxiety and guilt, feelings that were otherwise difficult to convey to another human being because of internal insecurities or a general lack of perceived safety. Character.ai also removes the nuances of human interaction, for better or for worse. There's a safety net in what you do and say because this character is fictional, so you can impose your own boundaries without having to worry if you offended it or not. Again, for better or for worse. There's also a lower barrier of entry for Character.ai, as opposed to general role-playing. When you want to role-play with others, usually you're going to have to find people, and then you're going to have to post prompts and interactions before you get going. And it's not even a guarantee that you partner with a character that you were hoping for. This is also coupled with other real-life nuances that could get in the way of general role-playing. And Character AI also provides a plethora of characters that you can choose from, so you're never short on choices. Now for the cons and the possible dangers of Character AI. There are several problems when it comes to using Character AI that aren't just limited to you using the platform. The first is the general use of generative AI to mimic content from established IPs. Generative AI content is a very heated debate online based on its ethics in the creatives industry, but character AI's use of it, while fictional, is still the reconstruction of existing works meant to pass off as the real deal, or at least feel like the real deal. Everyone has their opinions on generative AI, and these are up to you to dissect. It's also important to note that character.ai has paid options, and anyone can create a bot and train it. As for something more personal, using character.ai over general role-playing sites can also impede your own creative critical thinking because of a lack of human intervention. Instead of prose work, it's pretty common to just give a half-hearted dialogue and call it a day. Let the bot think for you on how this story can go. However, a very big problem about character.ai replacing role-playing is the general lack of human intervention on the AI's learning. Character AI has different rating prompts where the user can rate the bot's responses to their input, but humans allow humans to learn social cues and boundaries. AI doesn't necessarily have that. Besides the NSFW filters that are hard-coded into them, there's no real moral compass that is necessary for palatable interactions. Even worse, because so many people interact with the bot, there's a possibility of it self-corrupting. It can take bits of information that was offensive or rude that passed through the filter, and because some people decided to be a little funny and teach it about the wonders of World War II, the bot suddenly becomes rogue. There have been reports where the AI has continuously looped in its own response or has given a response that is outside of the user's input. And sometimes, you can even accidentally force the character AI to talk to itself or nudge the user along a particular path. And next is that there is a very real danger when it comes to pseudo-socialization, a term that I'm going to use to define the extensive formation of relationships with something that's not real. Character.ai enhances a psychological phenomenon tenfold by mimicking the characters altogether, and it can breed a level of fantasy that borders on delusion. It can also form a dependency where the character.ai becomes an unhealthy form of escapism, which can lead to isolation. This is especially the case with fabricated intimacy, where the simulation of sexual and romantic relationships can create a false sense of realism because they talk to you like a regular human being behind a chatbot. This can foster feelings of addiction and reliance, and even worse, withdrawal, once the person is faced with the harsh reality of the person they're talking to not being real. This is especially disturbing if the character portrayed is of a real person. Character.ai doesn't have too strong of a policy against mimicking literal human beings, and the odds that someone grows a parasocial relationship with one of them is not as low as he'd hope for it to be. So what's the end goal of all of this? For me personally, character.ai is nothing short of SimSimi, and it's not meant to ever replace human role-playing altogether because I don't think that's the goal. It actually feels more like a dating app. When you go to character.ai, it's usually to talk to the character however you want, and not necessarily to form a story. It's dialogue heavy, and most of the time, you go there as yourself rather than role-playing a character. Character.ai overall gives a sense of connection and escapism to a lot of people, besides the ethics of generative AI altogether. However, using too much of it can be detrimental to your well-being, similar to a lot of things in life. Anyway, my name is Aster and thank you for chilling with me. Also, if you're a fan of gaming, I am currently doing my ZZZ playthrough on my Gaming with Aster channel. Link down below if you're interested. Anyway, bye-bye!